Hi guys, welcome to Partners in Crime. I'm Linda.
And I'm Vicki.
And today we have a lot of updates on the Cult Mom case, so stay tuned.
Well, we wanted to give you a quick recap of the Lori Daybell, Chad Daybell case. It's so hard to put it in summary because so much has gone on. So we're going to start with a recap after the kids were found. After the kids were found buried in Chad's backyard. It's been 3 weeks and the police, law enforcement, forensics were back at his house again doing another search. The search, they did gather some items, what we don't know. They were carrying brown bags out of the house. Mm-hmm. So we don't really know exactly what they found. But as a result of that, they are upping the charges on Lori and Chad. Mm-hmm. So they're actually going to get them now, and this could change in the future, for conspiracy to alter evidence, conceal evidence, lying to the police. There's quite a few charges that are in that last affidavit that they are filing now. So basically, that was the latest update. I'm sure that not too far in the future, those charges are going to be amended again.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I would bet on it. Mm-hmm. I would bet on it. Those kids did not bury themselves.
Right.
And kill themselves in the backyard, put them in the backyard. So I think that's coming. Mm-hmm. That is coming.
They just need to get everything squared away and all their ducks in a row. That's what they keep saying, just to make sure that anything they charge them with sticks.
Right.
So Lori, today is Wednesday, July 1st. So yesterday, June 30th, is when they charged Lori. And you said today they charged Chad.
Yeah, he had a hearing today. And what was so interesting, if you had a chance to see that hearing yesterday with Lori, is that there were tears. She actually was asking for tissues. She was crying. Now, crocodile tears, you know. I can't believe it. I think she's crying because the charges were raised.
Right.
Not so much because of what happened to her children.
Mm-hmm. And it was very sad to see her son Colby was there with his wife, and just seeing that kid's face, it was, I mean, he's not a kid, he's an adult, but he's still a kid. He's like my kid. I have a son his age, and just to see that he just doesn't have a brother and a sister anymore. His mother has betrayed everyone, and it was really heartbreaking watching him and his wife sitting there listening to this. I do believe, and we didn't see them on screen, but I think JJ's grandparents were also
he said
part of that.
The judge was saying who was on the Zoom call, and they were on the Zoom call, but they didn't show them. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I do have something funny that I wanted to bring up, though. None of this is funny, don't get me wrong. We have people, you know, saying that we shouldn't be laughing about this, and we're not laughing about the situation. It's just so absurd. But I did find it yesterday when they were doing the charges. Lori's lawyer asked the judge to call her Mrs. Daybell.
She requested that.
Yes, but I continue to watch, and he always said Miss Daybell. I don't know if the judge did that on purpose or if he just, you know, forgot, but I thought that was...
What, that he actually called her Miss Daybell?
He continued to call her Miss Daybell. He did not call her Mrs. Daybell.
Oh, Miss.
Yes.
And Miss instead of Mrs.
Yes, so I, you know, one for the judge on that one, because I thought that was...
Yeah.
You know. But, so yeah, there were, like, Vicky said they did search Chad's property again, and I did watch Nate Eaton's assistant, who was doing a live stream or a live shot at the property while the police were there, and he did say that they were focusing on the barn and the white shed, and that's where a lot of the bags were. I know near the barn is where they found Tylee. So,
Is that where the fire pit was also? Okay.
Yeah, in back of that.
You know, what I don't understand is, after they found the kids, why didn't they seal that property? I mean, they did an initial search in January, and now they're back again, but Chad's family, his son-in-law and his daughter, are living in that house.
Yes.
So, I don't get it. Why didn't they seal off that property so nobody could be there and do anything with evidence?
Yeah.
I don't quite get that.
If
but
anybody knows what the police do and why they couldn't do that, let us know. We really, really appreciate all of the comments that we got for our first video. So we really enjoy reading them, and like I said, we appreciate any information you could give us and some of the nice things people are saying and all that kind of thing. So just to do a little housekeeping, please subscribe and click on the bell button to get notified whenever we upload a video. We're going to try to do this weekly. Hopefully we'll get 2 videos out a week, so that's our goal.
I would also like to say, we're not news reporters and we're not anchors. We're just having a discussion. And please understand, you know, it might not seem as professional as you think it should be, but this is just our way of getting our talk together to speak to each other and to you about our feelings on the case and what we do know about the case. So we don't want to offend anybody.
No.
So just feel free to give us comments. We do like the comments, to get us better.
Yep.
At doing this.
Yeah, we'll get better as we go. So let's go, I'm going to go through a timeline that I wrote down. There's a Vallow timeline that we found when we were doing our research. So 9/1 or 9/2, Lori moves to Pioneer Road in Rexburg. 9/8, Lori, Alex, JJ, and Tylee are at Yellowstone Park. Monday, 9/9, 2:42 a.m. to 3:37 a.m. Alex's cell pings at Lori's apartment. And this is the only time in September that he was ever there that late.
In the middle of the night.
Yeah. 4:37 he goes home. From 8:50 a.m. until 8:59. Yeah, 8:59 a.m. he leaves, and then 9:21 he's at Chad's house, Chad's property at the east end of the barn. 11:52 he is his phone pings at Del Taco in Rexburg, so he was there over 2 hours.
Guess he got hungry after
Yeah.
whatever he did.
Yep.
At Chad Daybell's property.
And then 1 minute later, Chad texts Tammy about the raccoon.
Right.
We find out that when they did dig up everything, there are dogs and cats, because they did have pets that they buried in the cemetery. No raccoon in the cemetery. So they knew that Chad was not telling the truth and he was trying to hide something.
Right. Apparently there was a gunshot fired at his property, and he emailed or texted his wife, who was still alive at the time, to say that he found a raccoon on the property and shot it. Now, I don't know why they were covering up that shot. Was it a shot for
Maybe
the kids?
Tylee, because JJ was alive after that point.
Yes.
So it was probably Tylee that
Yeah.
something happened to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, who knows?
It is crazy. And
Alex actually was a follower of Lori's beliefs. He believed everything she was saying about dark spirits and zombies, and he actually at one point said to Melanie Gibb, who is Lori's friend, when Melanie said, where are the kids? What do you think happened to the kids at some point? And he said, you don't want to know. So it might have been, I don't know, it had to be after something happened to the kids that they had that conversation.
Lori and Chad did.
No, Lori and Alex.
Alex,
I'm
okay, I apologize.
Michelle and Alex. Not Michelle.
Melody. Melody and Alex, that's okay.
I had a little bit too much wine. Melanie and Alex were having this conversation, and he intimidated to her. You don't want to know where the kids are. And that's, so telling.
Right.
That he would say something like that.
Yeah.
They talk about the condition of the bodies and how they tried to conceal the evidence. How, what was I going to say? They tried to conceal the evidence. They lied.
Yes.
They lied to the police on several occasions. They lied about where the whereabouts of the kids were. And these are all added charges, the conspiracy charges, because they both did it. And they did it at different times.
Right. And they have 2 counts because all of those things were for JJ, and then the second count was for Tylee. And I believe in the, they were saying that Alex is listed as a part of the conspiracy. It was in other documents. I don't know if it was in an affidavit, but they did list Alex Cox as well as
I heard them say another party or
yes.
or parties. I didn't hear them say his name specifically.
It was in another document
Was
that it did list out his name.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, I don't have the specific document that he was listed on, but he was listed on. And let's see, what other things do we want to tell you?
And these court documents are available for the public to view. I don't have the channel or the website where you would look at them, but I'm sure you could find it if you Google that information.
And as we delve more into these type of things, we'll know where to find all of this information. I know when we watch other YouTubers, they do list, parts of the affidavit and court documents on the screen, and we'll try to do that. We just have to learn how to do that. So at this point, what do you think, how long do you think it'll take for them to then
Add the additional charges?
Yeah.
I don't know, but they have preliminary hearings coming up in August. Those hearings, I think, are pre-trial hearings. So maybe by that time, they'll have the additional charges.
Yeah, I know
They're in
Lori's
August.
is August 10th and 11th. I know hers, I don't know Chad's, so I don't know if it's about the same.
They changed them, but they
Okay.
are both in August, that I know. Lori lived in Hawaii. She got married to Charles Vallow in Hawaii. Then he moved them back to Arizona.
Okay.
What's interesting is she married Chad in
In
Hawaii.
Hawaii too.
And, there's pictures of them frolicking on the beach while her kids were, in her mind, what she was saying was that they were safe. But to the rest of the world, they were missing because she wouldn't produce them.
Yeah.
And I know the fear was because the kids weren't produced, that the police found them, that she was going to get a break off of those charges of desertion of her children because they were found.
Yeah. So they don't stick anymore because...
But I don't know about that. But they are definitely, you know, trying very hard to build this case against her and Chad. Chad sat emotionless at that hearing he had.
Did he?
Just so, you know, not a blink in his eye. Just so straight and, you know, like he didn't have a care in the world.
I'd like to see them. I'd love to be a fly on the wall on July 23rd.
I know.
Just to see their reaction when they wake up in the morning and we're still all here, and then the you-know-what hits the fan and they have to pay for everything they've done.
Well, that's because they had predicted that the end of the world,
Correct.
their doomsday prophecy, was the 22nd of July.
Yes. So I am making light of that, but you know, if they do start talking, that would be a surprise. People think that that might happen because now it's real. They're both in jail, and new charges have been filed. And, you know, they're looking at least 10 years if the maximum sentence is...
It could be either concurrent for both kids. Concurrent or consecutive. I don't know when they make that decision.
Yeah, I would hope that they would make them
Consecutive.
consecutive.
Well, let's hope that it's longer than that.
Well, yes. Yeah.
Murder charges are really brought about. You know, no doubt it'll be longer than that.
Yeah. I know someone else was talking about the police that were at Chad's house again. They were thinking it wasn't anything about Tammy because of the Rexburg police being there when the Freehold, is it Freehold? Fremont police would be the ones that are looking into Tammy's death. But I think Nate Eaton's assistant said, and I apologize if I'm saying assistant and you're not an assistant, he was saying that both police, the Rexburg and Fremont police were there. So who knows, maybe they were working together, maybe they were working on both cases. So we're still waiting for Tammy's autopsy results. We don't know how the kids ultimately passed away. We might find out about JJ. I don't know if they'll be able to figure out Tylee though.
They were saying that through the autopsy, they don't normally do any kind of toxicology test on exotic poisoning. There's a basic toxicology panel that they use for things like opioids. You know, that does not include things that they could have used to poison them with.
Okay.
You know, I believe someone said you don't know what you don't know. So if they don't know what was used to poison them, it's going to be very hard for them to order a test to determine that through toxicology testing. They're really going to have to dig deep to see what they can find. And considering how deteriorated they are, and I don't know if we're going to be able to find that out. The same thing with Tammy.
Yeah. I do, and I could be wrong, but even though Alex was cremated, I believe they did have samples from him before he was cremated, so they might be able to figure something out about him as well. I know they ruled it that he died, it was natural causes, but you can drug someone or poison someone, not drug someone. You can poison someone and it does not show up unless you're, like you said, looking for it.
Right.
So there are things that you can give people that will slowly kill them. And I don't know enough about it, but certain things will stay in a system for a certain amount of time. So
They
until
have-
they
they
go
have-
through everything.
They have a half-life, so it's metabolized, could metabolize slower
Slowly.
and be left in their DNA. Somewhere in their bones, somewhere that they could be able to find it. But again, they have to know what they're looking for.
Right. Yeah.
So that's tough for them. So I'm sure those details are not being overlooked. They're going to try their best.
And I know everyone's waiting. Why is it taking so long? They have to make sure that these charges stick. If they are going to charge them with something, if you listen to the lawyers and the detectives and whatnot, they say they cannot charge them with something now and then add to it later. It has to be a charge that will stick. They have to have everything. They have to have all the evidence, everything at that one point that they do file the charges. So that's why it takes so long, and they want to make sure, especially for the kids, that they have everything right if they're going to charge them. Because look at Casey Anthony. I mean, that was the prime example of the jurors saying,
Yeah,
that
they had reasonable doubt.
yeah. So
They really didn't have information on the cause of death. And they were making up all kinds of convoluted stories, the defense, on how the child died. They said her father, they just, so whatever they came up with, the jury was so confused and they didn't know. They didn't feel comfortable enough saying, because we don't know the cause of death, and
that it was premeditated. It could have been an accident and she tried to cover it up.
Yeah.
I think that's where the jury stood, and they couldn't sentence her because of that. There are a lot of things, and it's fascinating. I know there was duct tape on JJ or on the wrappings. They say that is like
gold.
yes, because there's DNA left on there. There's fingerprints left on there. You think you're not,
It's
you think
sticky,
you're not
so
leaving
they're-
anything.
Yeah.
I also saw that they also, believe it or not, trash bags. The way they are manufactured can tell you where a trash bag came from. And that's what they found, or no, that was the duct tape for Casey Anthony. But there was another trial years ago. I think someone in New Jersey killed her husband, and they figured out that the trash bag was manufactured in a certain way. When you look at it, there's certain designs and patterns on the trash bags because they're made in different machines, and they figured out that the trash bag came from this woman's house because she had the same trash bags, and her husband was wrapped in it.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah. It's kind of almost
amazing.
like a fingerprint, really, on the trash bag, because they make them in lots. So this particular lot had a particular pattern ingrained into the plastic,
and they know where these lots are going. They know where they're shipped. So yeah.
So very interesting. It really is. But I hope they find all the evidence they can to make sure there's no reasonable doubt. Because
those poor children.
it's just awful.
And to know that it was at the hand of their mother is just even worse. I mean, we're mothers, we're grandmothers. Like, I can't even imagine hurting your child like that. There's nothing in this world that would make me do that.
No. It's just, she was just so crazy. I have no other way of putting it. She just really got so sucked into this weird belief system. And she had one point told, just to get a little bit more confusing, her husband, Charles Ryan,
Joe Ryan.
Joe Ryan, his sister was pretty close with Lori at some point. And Lori had told her that when the end comes, it's going to be such a scary thing that it would almost be better if she put the kids in a car and drove off the cliff with them. So, was that in her mind? Is that what she thought? You know, let's do this so that the kids aren't going to suffer?
I
Or
mean,
is it,
apparently they did.
yeah.
So.
Or is it because they were zombies and they have to rid the world of zombies?